Everyone, it is Thursday, August 15th. My name is Shannon Cunningham. I'm an astrologer living and working in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I'm here to do the second part of a new series that I've started for the videos called Astrology WTF. It was a working title, but I think I'm married to it. The way that I got inspired to kind of like go back to the basics was because people were responding very positively to just being explained, having the fundamentals of astrology explained, and also, I've been working with a creative marketing company out of Montreal and a brilliant woman named Shannon Bienvenue. It's SB Creative Group is the name of the company, and she's been helping me with my rebranding. Shannon was a friend of mine before this, and I didn't know exactly how brilliant she was in terms of the way that she helps you to reimagine your brand until we started working together. And she, without hesitation, will ask questions about anything that she's confused about, any word she doesn't understand. I think this is what makes her as brilliant as she is she'll just tear a thing apart, and she's not at all embarrassed about being like, I don't understand that. No, still don't understand it. So she's been great for me, and she's watched all my videos. And last week she watched the video and said, you know what? I'm still confused about the difference between astrology and astronomy. So I'm here to kind of make that a little bit more clear. As I was saying last week, astrology was the world's oldest science, and in that, astrology encompassed astronomy because they were married to one another. When we were kind of like mapping out and noticing, the celestial objects in the sky and the effect that they had on us as a planet and as a people, it was all one. Like Copernicus, Kepler, they were astrologers and astronomers because they did notice that these planetary alignments and cycles and movements actually affected human affairs. At a certain point, a pope decided, astrology was mowing his grass, so they separated it out into astronomy and astrology. Astronomy being the science, and kind of like using an instrument such as a telescope. It used to be the naked eye, but then we developed these, different levels of magnifying glasses. Shannon said I should use visual aids, so I'm using binoculars. Astronomy, looking through an instrument, and determining star arrangement. So that is the actual origin of the word, Latin, Greek. Astronomy, star arrangement, aronomy, arrangement. Okay. I have to use little word tricks to put things in my brain. So yeah, that was when, astronomy is the scientific recording of where are the celestial objects, how fast are they moving, how far away are they, what's at the center of our solar system, how big is it, let's demote Pluto. Oh my God, the sun's at the center of the solar system. And then in recent years, discovering that there are, billions, like hundreds of billions of galaxies and stars and solar systems like our own. Okay, so that's astronomy. Astrology, my visual aid, is a pen because astrology translates as a telling of the stars. So, and that's interpretive, and that is why astrology, a lot of people call it, some people call it a pseudoscience. There has been an argument about whether or not it's an art or a science. I say it's a bit of both, but there is interpretation that is in the hands of the astrologer. It's based upon, thousands of years of research and mapping and empirical evidence about what these planets represent and what the signs represent and what the angles mean. But because it is going through a human brain and an astrologer, there is a part of it that is the art of astrology, which is why you should be very careful about the astrologer you go to, because you want someone who's professional and ethical and trained and is not some kind of a charlatan who just hung out their shingle and decided, oh, I'm an astrologer today. So, astrologer, telling of the stars, astronomer, mapping, star arrangement. So those are the the differences between astrology and astronomy. Astrology basically is a delineation of what the celestial objects in the sky and their placement and their constant movements mean for us as a planet, for human affairs, and for the human individual. So natural astrology is the study of how the planetary movements affect our physical world, like our tides and our atmosphere and our seasons. And then mundane astrology is the kind of like larger view of how does astrology affect human affairs, like economic and political cycles and the rise and fall of kingdoms, and major disruptions. These can be mapped out over time because, we tend to repeat our historical cycles, and they tend to line up with certain planets being in certain aspects and angles to one another. And this has been recorded since we started being able to see the planets and their movements, and the fact that planets were actually moving and the stars were fixed. And we were like, what the hell is that? And then there's natal astrology, which is what I practice, and that is the astrology of the individual. So that's at your exact time of birth, we get a little snapshot of what's happening there, which is fixed. And that tells you things about your characteristics and potentials. And it is endlessly fascinating. And trust me when I say no two people are alike. So that is astrology, a telling of the stars, and astronomy is a mapping. It's basically star arrangement. So I'll get into the subject a little bit more deep next week. Please feel free to ask questions in the comments below because I want to hear from you guys, and there is no such thing as a stupid question. And I mean it. Okay. Talk to you next week.